Hi yo people, how you doing today? I'm back with another video. This one's a bit of a more serious note, but this one I feel like applies to everybody. For as long as you got a family in it, well, I hope everyone anyway. But the concept or inspiration of this video, I was thinking of like, who do you want to be and how do you want to be remembered by in it? So the inspiration for this video was obviously my grandfather died in it. Like my dad's dad, inna lillahi wa inna Illayhi Rajioon. Obviously, yeah, he passed a couple of days ago, isn't it? And do you know what? I'm not really good at talking directly, so I'm just gonna tell you a story of what happened retrospectively to get my point across of the thought of who do you want to be and how do you want to be remembered, innit? So obviously, look, I was in my bedroom now, chilling in it. It was the morning, so I just finished my daily meditation and whatnot. And I just watched a YouTube video about why you shouldn't have a dream car or something like that. And then obviously I've got a couple dream cars in it. You'll see them soon. But listen, so I was watching that video and then I was doing some introspection, to deep diving into my psyche of why do I really want a dream car, you know what I mean? I was just justifying myself. I was talking and anyway, I was getting a bit gas. I was like, I'm gonna get this and that. I didn't really take in the video, but anyway, listen, I hear footsteps coming up and obviously I'm on the top floor of my house, innit? So no one really comes up the stairs because there's nothing up here except for my room and this other room I used to work. So I hear this now and like, obviously I stop. I'm talking to myself a little bit, yeah. But yeah, so obviously my mum comes in the room now and I'm like, right, he didn't even knock. And she was like, what? I need to knock in my own house now. And I'm like, anyway, we're all talking now. And then she just tells me, yeah, like, my dad's died. And obviously she's reached out to my dad and given her condolences because he's in Nigeria, we're in London, my dad's in Nigeria, he's not here right now. So he's obviously been with my dad because my grandfather's been ill for a while now, innit? So I knew this as well. I wanted to go to Nigeria, but that wasn't God's plan. So obviously, when my mum's left me to my own devices, my own thoughts now, I got to thinking now, because obviously, like, it's my grandfather, it's not just my dad's dad, it's my grandfather. And obviously I was thinking like, right, how should I feel? Because death isn't really something that's close to me. My grandmother's also died, my dad's mum as well, and that was only like within the last year as well, so that's happened. But I got to thinking, how should I feel? I didn't really know. And I was thinking, well, society would probably say I should cry, or it's okay to cry. But I didn't really have that initial inclination. And it's like, I just got to thinking. I was like, first I thought about my dad and I wondered like how he was feeling, if he was okay. And I started feeling like, right, like, I'm a grandchild as well. Like, I guess somewhere, somehow my feelings must be like, they're important somehow, I guess, I don't know. But then I had like a little imaginary conversation in my head, like, of where I was gonna tell like someone later, like, oh, my grandfather died. But I'm not gonna lie, there's no girl, there's nobody I'm really gonna call like that to tell them, because it's not really that. My personal relationships aren't like that. Not that I'm not close to people, but it's not the things we kind of talk about, innit? It's not that deep anyway. But cool. So I had this little conversation in my head and I told them like, oh yeah, my grandpa died, and it's like, oh, you're right. And I was like, yeah, like, obviously I'm not too sad about it. It's like I'm speaking now. It's like, obviously my response in my head was, yeah, we weren't that close. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, that's what really got me to thinking, innit? We weren't that close. And I've got no malice, I've got no resentment, I've got no hate of anything like that. Like, that's life, innit? But it did get me to thinking, because I was like, imagine like, I'm a grandfather now, and I die. Like, how do I want my grandchildren to feel? Because obviously, like, I believe my dad is my grandfather's eldest child, and I'm my dad's eldest child, so that must count for something, is what I'm going through in my mind, innit? Like, so how, like, the grandchild, how should the grandchild feel, innit? Like, my emotions are, they're odd, they're all over the place, but it got me thinking retrospectively how I'd want my future grandchild to feel. Do you get what I mean? So on that, I got quite introspective, and then obviously my plan was to call my dad, speak to him. I called him, but I called his right enough, so I didn't get to speak to him that day. So I spoke to him the next day. We spoke. He said obviously there's people doing prayers for him. They're doing ceremonies. My grandfather was kind of like a professor in Nigeria, so he was a bit bait out there, innit? Basically, so he's got a bit of clout out there, innit? Yeah, so obviously a serious note. So I started writing in it before I made this video. Me thinking in it, all of this got me thinking about my life and my family tree and my uncles and my aunties, the ones I haven't spoken to, my dad's side and all of this, and it really got me thinking like who do I want to be? Like, I remember being very young, and I don't know if a lot of people can relate to this, but I remember being young, and this is when you kind of grow up a little bit. Maybe you become a teenager or whatever, like you've grown up, and then you start to hear about a little bit of your family's past and your family dynamic. Why this uncle doesn't speak to that person, why that person doesn't speak to this person, and all of this, like a lot of strange dynamics. And I don't know if it's just me, but I found out about this when I was young. I remember when I was young, I truly remember this. I always wanted to like fix all of these broken bonds. Like it kind of upset me that there was a lot of estrangeness in my family side, a lot of half uncles, a lot of half brothers, a lot of people that don't talk to each other, a lot of people I don't even know, or they don't even know I exist and we're related by blood, or we've got the same surname, innit? I used to think about all of that, and it used to kind of hurt me, innit? But obviously as I grew up older, I kind of just, that's life, innit? You can't be close. Like there's a lot of, my mum's side of the family is a bit different, we're a bit closer then, but the point is, and obviously this is quite recent, innit? My dad's died. I thought, well, how do I want to live my life? Do you know what I'm saying? My uncles and the aunties I've got now, my cousins I've got now, like my children, my brother's children, like one day when I'm a grandfather, like how do I want it to be? Do I want it to be that my son's son doesn't know me, or he's kind of like indifferent to my death? And I thought, nah, like I don't want anything like that. Like it kind of breaks my heart, if anything, do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I started really thinking, like, how do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to move? Because the thing about all of this thing and all these things, like people talk about generational curses, innit? It's not, I don't know if it's voodoo or judge or whatever people think it is, but I've realized it's not something like that. It's more of like the behaviors and characteristics that you inherit, innit? Like I myself got a kind of characteristic where I don't really like any kind of drama, any kind of something that doesn't gel well with me. I'm not in a big confrontation. I'm in a distance, keep to myself. I'll distance, I'll go silent. I'll keep my peace in it. And my dad's like that, but he's a bit more like, he's worse, I just said. He's just a bit worse, in it. So obviously, and then his dad, my grandfather, it's just, from what I've learned, is just completely different, in it. And that's just obviously culture, characteristics, and I don't know if it's unintended or maybe he doesn't even know, but it is what it is. And these characteristics, let's to my dad being how he is, a lot of people like with African parents will understand that they're not really affectionate like that. It's just not what it is, innit? That's how we grow up. Obviously, I'm a first generation immigrant, so now I'm here now. I've got the opportunity to decide how I move and whether I'm like cold, distant, or like, you know what I mean, not really loving and close with your family, friends, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? So it got me thinking, like all these generational curses and whatnot, like first generation immigrants and people like me, like it lays on our shoulders and the decisions we make today, innit? It's how I relate to my brother, my sister. It's how I relate to my mother, my father, my uncles, my auntie, my cousins, like how I react when I get my first child, when I get married, my brother's child, because it's so mad. Like I'm sure a lot of people have the situation where their parents don't speak to their brothers and sisters, or they've got uncles and aunties that they don't see. And that's mad. Like if you think about life is so short, man. Like apart from family, like what really is there to strive for is what I really think about. So there's not really a true point I have for this video. It's not like I'm not trying to tell anybody anything, but it's more to just think about the kind of person you want to be when you pass away. So as I grow older, I orient myself to be a family man. Like I used to be a very individualistic and very selfish person, I can say very honestly. I'm still kind of combating with that right now in society, but as I grow older, I become more community facing. I care much more for my family, and I do much more for my family and extended family. And as I grow older, I want to do more, and I want to bring my family closer together. As old as, you know what I'm saying, I want to build the bonds and the bridges, innit? That's who the kind of person I want to be. So, but it starts now, because the way these behaviors people have, and I'll never forget, because there was one time I had a conversation with my dad, innit? And we never really used to have conversations when I was growing up, innit? Only when I was like in uni was when we actually spoke, like on a proper thing, for like on the phone or anything, obviously, because you know what I mean, we lived together for a while, so we never really spoke on the phone, innit? But I was like telling him about all these books I was reading. That's how we used to relate, because I was reading books, he read books. I was telling him about all these books I'd read, you know what I mean? Your Think and Grow Rich is your Rich Dad Poor Dad, your whatnot. And he told me he's read all of them, innit? And I was like, yeah, I used to keep telling him, yeah, I read this book. He said, yeah, that's a good one, I read it. And I was like, Dad, why are we not rich? I said, you read all these books? I'm like, I'm gonna be rich, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you read them, well, what? These books bullshit, like, what's going on? And he basically told me, on a very serious note, when you're an adult, like a fully grown adult, like middle age, we're lucky because if you're my age, in my 20s, we're still very malleable. But once you get to your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you've kind of become the consequences of all your behaviors or your actions. Like, it's not impossible to change, but your character is very rigid. It's kind of like an oak tree. Like, the older you get, the more the roots of your habits, your behaviors become ingrained. So when you try to make drastic changes when you're older, it's much more difficult. So he said, I'm lucky because I found all this when I was quite young, because I was quite inquisitive. So I've got the opportunity to build myself into any kind of person I am. But when you get older, the kind of person you are is kind of hard to stick. You're kind of rigid. So it's not like, how it relates to us right now is the relationships you have with people, your brother, your sister, your mum, your dad, your uncles, your aunties. It's all the decisions you make right now. Like, even myself, I'm still to this day guilty of it. Like, the quick 2-minute conversations, nothing deep of hey, hi, how are you? Nothing really. Like, that's not the vision I have for my life. And I really do endeavour to have much deeper and true relationship with all of my family and even my friends as well. This relates to anybody if you're not too family orientated, but it's like, you've got to take the decisions to build the bonds and relationships for life that you want to have now. And you've got to become that person, because from the way I see it, because I can see it now that I'm much older, I can look at my younger cousins, just the way they speak to each other, or the way my brother acts. Like, he'll just leave something in the kitchen. I'm like, why didn't you pick that up? Like, it's not my problem. Do you get what I mean? The way you think about things it's very telling of how you become if you don't make active behaviors, because you don't even realize. I was like that as well. I was very individualistic. I was very selfish. Like, it's not my problem. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm trying to do my thing in life. I don't care about what anyone else is doing. But that's not really, it's not conducive, because then you'll become alone, innit? Become alone. So you gotta take steps to become the person you want to be and how you want to be remembered, innit? Because, you know what I'm saying, you don't want to die alone, or die and then nobody thinks highly of you, or thinks, you know what I mean, has positive images, or no one's there at your funeral, innit? Obviously you're dead, innit? But still, innit? It's a thought to ruminate on. Human beings, at the end of the day, we're social creatures. Like, we need each other, we need other people to connect, you know what I'm saying? You can't live life by yourself. We're not individualists. And this is a problem in the West, I'd say 100% growing up. Like, we're all so individualistic. But community, family, all of that, those are the values that I want to uphold and make a priority in my life. And the death of someone close to you and how you relate to them, how you think of them, will make you think of how you are when you pass, because we're all gonna die and go back to the grave one day. So think about how you wanna be remembered, and think about the kind of person you wanna be. What do you want people to say about you when you die, when you pass? What do you want them to say? How do you want them to feel? What did you do for them? That's what I've been thinking about, innit? So I don't know if there's gonna be any immediate changes in my action in life, but how I relate, and when I grow older and have more family of my own, how I relate to them and the connections and bonds that I'll start to build from the beginning will be highly influenced by the bonds and characteristics I grew up with as a child and I live with to this day. And yeah, I'd advise everyone to just think about that, man. How you relate to your family now. Are you happy with it? Is it productive? And do you know what's the maddest thing is? For years, yeah, like this kind of mindset, maybe it was 2 years ago, innit? It's when I started trying to like reach out and build like a deeper relationship with my father, innit? Because I realised we didn't have that kind of relationship. Like, there was no malice or anything like that, but we just wasn't. we weren't close in it. Like if anything was popping off in my life, I wasn't gonna go call him and tell him, do you know what I mean? So I started trying to build that bridge. And then even with my brothers and sisters, my siblings, I realised that, right, like I don't really know too much about what's going on in life. If something goes wrong, they're gonna tell me I don't know. So that's when I made an active effort, and it's so slight, maybe they'll never even notice or realise it, but I made an active effort with everybody in my life to like strengthen the relationships and relate to them deeper and have something that we at least got a connection with, innit? So it's very, and I speak to a lot of people, man, they're not close to their siblings, and it's scary because who do you have if you don't have family, man? Like friends come and go, man, that's just the honest truth. So take that how you like it. That's just my own experience, my own life. I'm not really here to tell you anything, to be fair. I just wanted to talk to this about it because I'm gonna lie, like, I'm not gonna, there's no one really to chat to it about. So if it benefits you, if you leads to you having more positive relationships, great. If not, hope you found some kind of value in it. So that's me. Have a great one. Enjoy.